Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, six-time world champ, two-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me, as always, man. And we always trying to bring you the best right here inside the Hall of Fame. I want to thank all you guys for stepping inside the Hall of Fame. All you guys in the comments section, but getting your champagne wishes, caviar dreams, man. I'm gonna tell you right now, if it wasn't for you guys. If it wasn't for you guys, and I've been saying that for many, many years, and I know it sounds cliche, and I've said about my wrestling career, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here doing this, man. So we appreciate you guys first and foremost. Brad, how you doing, man?
Yo, Book, I'm good. I'm good. Coming off a little travel weekend, had a little quick NYC trip over the weekend. Really enjoyed it. Took in some sights, some shows. Really enjoyed getting out of there. But I'm excited that we're back here in the Hall of Fame because since last show, boy, this wrestling game, this fight game, it just doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. But I heard someone told me that you had a phenomenal weekend yourself, especially at that fantasy camp. I heard there was a lot of talent out there.
Man, we had a lot of fun at fantasy camp, man. We had about 35 people joined us, and we posted a lot of stuff up on Twitter. So if you get a chance, check it out. It was awesome, man. From 12 to 5, ran those guys. We actually ran out of time just because we had so many people. But we're going to be doing another one in another couple of months. So, guys, you hear about fantasy camp, come on down, check it out. We had a few guys that had to go to the men's room to throw up, but it was awesome, man. I think everybody had a good time. We had a fuel discussion though after the session, man, and I was like, man, it got real heated inside that World Gym Arena for about 15 to 30 minutes. My boy Kevin had to shut me down because I was getting a little hot. It is all about the way these young people think these days, and the wrestling business to me is special. I hold it near and dear to my heart when people just mess with it. It ticks me off in the worst way, bro. Seriously.
Well, I mean, when you say mess with it, do you mean like, I don't know, lighting your food on fire?
You know what? I'm the trainer. I'm the trainer, all right? I got 32 years of experience. We start the session off with push-ups. All right, we did actually Hindu squats. We did 200 Hindu squats, and then we did 100 push-ups. Now, the kid that made this comment, he couldn't even do 100 push-ups. Okay, I did 75 in one set, but he couldn't do 100 in sets of 20. Okay, but his comment was that to him, wrestling, it didn't have to make sense. Anybody could beat anybody. It just because it's wrestling. And I'm like, no, that's not true. When you start doing that, you messing up the whole feel of what people come to see. They come, to spend their imagination for a moment and actually cheer for their hero. And normally their hero is the guy that, looks the part.
Right.
It's like, just say, for instance, Superman had no muscles.
He wouldn't be very super, would he, Book?
He wouldn't be very super, even though, why does Superman have muscles? It really doesn't matter. But we would see it differently if Superman had no muscles.
Do you know what's so funny? I've watched Superman my entire life, and I never thought about the fact that even if he didn't have muscles, it wouldn't make a difference. He's from a different planet. He's from Krypton.
Exactly.
He could be as strong.
Exactly. But the visual and the perception means something. Am I correct here?
1,000%. What a great analogy.
Yeah. So when I hear people talk like that, I go, no, that's not the way it is. And when we start messing with the business, I go, man, we're totally we totally need to school these young people more than anything. And that's what I'm trying to do, trying to school these young guys and these young girls on pro wrestling. And we had another conversation about intergender wrestling, and I say I don't think intergender wrestling should be something that should be brought, as far as a man fighting a woman on television. Of course, China was an anomaly, but there's only that could only be one. I just don't think it's something that we should bring to the forefront where men actually could start punching women in the face. But I said for independent scene where it's not that much, wrestling out there, as far as good wrestling, you're going to have a lot more guys because a whole lot more guys are in the business. It's something to do for practice. And her point was, nah, a woman could actually beat a man. And I go, well, name one sport where men compete against women. Or just one. I say you put the best female basketball player against the best male player. Okay, the best footballer, the best golfer, the best basketball player, male, female. Put them together and track. Let's see who wins. Swimming. Just about everything. Men are going to dominate over women just because of their genetics, just because of the testosterone and DNA.
Physical advantage.
Exactly. So it's nothing against women or anything like that. Me personally, I think I'm trying to protect women more than anything by not putting them in that situation to where when a man hit them, nobody think anything about it.
Well, look, let me say a couple things to that because I think it's a fascinating conversation that we could probably spend the whole show on. But to sum up my points, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like the overwhelming majority of sports, men on average are going to dominate women in a physical competition on average. Now you have your outliers, right? Like if you put me in a MMA fight against Ronda Rousey, I'm probably not going to come out of that one's too great, right? That's just based on skill level, and you can make those comparisons that are more outliers than they are the general rule. The other thing though that you touch on that I do agree with too is this: if we start having when I started watching wrestling as a kid, and I could speak for every kid out there, the first thing you did is if you had a neighbor, a brother, a cousin, someone close in age to you, you are going to try every move that you just saw Booker T do, Steve Austin do, right? I'm pedigreeing you. I'm giving you the rock bottom. I'm going to try to hit you with a scissors kick. That's just, what we do, right? You want to wrestle with somebody. I do think there could be a problem, and maybe I'm jumping out the window, if you have on a regular basis men interacting with women in a physical fight, simulated fight, that telling young people, oh, it's okay to fight women. I actually think that is a real thing that could happen.
You may not know it, but the person who is the youngest person that's in prison for life is in there for doing a wrestling move that killed his little sister. Okay.
Yeah.
I think he got convicted at 14, 15 years old or something like that.
Oh my goodness.
Got convicted as an adult, and put him in jail for life. And that's what it was for. So you're exactly right. Me personally, I'm never gonna advocate for men wrestling women in any frame or any way, shape, or form. It's just not something that's right. And I say that because I ain't finna have no man, hitting one of my sisters or hitting my daughter, and something bad don't happen. Like I go back to prison. You know what I mean? So that right there is just not a bridge. I don't think we should ever thinking about crossing. And the one thing about this girl is she was actually talented. She was about maybe 5'9", 5'10". She actually had a really, really good look, and maybe that's the way the reason why she thought that way, because she was a pretty big girl, and maybe she's beat up on her brothers, and whatnot, and she feel that way. But I just do not want to ever take wrestling to that point right there. And there again, that's just me. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, as an opinion, like anything else. I mean, I tend to agree with it more than I don't, but I do agree with your caveat of on the independent scene, there are far more men on the independents than there are women, just based on numbers. That's for no other reason. So for me,
somebody can argue you about that as well.
I'm sure they would.
More women out there. Yeah, I'm serious.
But you have a good point.
Yeah,
you have a good point saying, yeah, if you're on the independents, you probably will have more opportunities to wrestle men, other men, and for that, you can learn from that. You can only learn from somebody who's better than you. So I do get that. By the way, I see Ringside News in the chat having a little fun with this. Yes, thank you, Ringside News. If you report on this, please frame it properly. All right, don't make me come at you on Twitter. I will. Ask your friend.
Yeah. Seriously, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. We got to take a break, man. You're in the Hall of Fame. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute. You're worth it.
13 years, the King of Solar Screens has been an industry leader, and we proudly use 100% American-made products. Home of the $55 any size, any color solar screen.
Well, what about arches?
$55.
What about circles?
$55.
What about rectangles?
$55.
Any size, any color, installed free. The King of Solar Screens, on time, every time.
Now can you dig that, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker?
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, man. We just talking about a little something, just real talk, more than anything here inside the Hall of Fame. ESPN 975-925, bringing it to you on a weekly, man, and it gets that's from Salt Lake City. That's money. That's some money calling right there. But
down money.
No, man, we got these super chatters, man.
Yes, we do. We have one already. And by the way, if you are watching us live, you want to send in your question or comment for Booker or myself, just super chat it in. We'll read it on the show. This is from Jamal Stoudemire, who said, Book, I just watched King Booker making the face of WWE Cena kiss your royal feet with Finley and Regal's assist. You should have put your toes in Cena's mouth. That's gross. That's gross.
It was a good day for me right there, man. Making Cena bow down. I went all the way to Monday Night Raw to make that happen.
Sean.
What was that?
I don't know what that was.
But no, man, it was a good time. But actually, we something came out in the sports. That's what it was. The sports today, as far as King of the Ring winners and where are they now and they did for the role, and they placed King Booker at number one, man. I want to say, man, I appreciate that putting King Booker at number one as being the guy that took the role and took it to another level. And I feel like I did too. I feel like I took that role to another level. I feel like when people mention the role of King of the Ring, I think the first king you should think about is Booker, King Booker, because he was definitely a merciful king, and he did a hell of a job.
I do want to say, because I do agree with them. By the way, King Booker, obviously the best king. But can we actually ask everybody in the Sportster? Y'all did a great article. Love the article, loved it. But can we just ask everybody to stop using that same picture of you?
Yeah, man, I hate that.
This picture right here.
Yeah.
Why is this the picture that they use? What is it about this photograph that everybody likes to use?
I don't know, man.
It doesn't even look like you anymore.
No beard, nothing, man.
You got a little Michael Cole.
I don't even know what I was thinking back then, but I look good though.
Look, they got a great photo of Brett. You know what I mean? They got this is an updated Edge photo, right?
Yeah,
this is Edge from a week ago. Why can't we get Booker with a beard?
One of my nice suits on too, Yeah,
I know one of them custom mades.
Do that for me, y'all. Do that for me next time.
Your recent picture, Triple H. Recent picture, Edge. Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn got some love here, which I was surprised about.
Hey, Booker T at number one. Hey, man, like I said, man, I appreciate that because it's always going to be a debate as far as who is the best and whatnot. And sometimes people say who the best was because they like that person more. That was their favorite, wrestler. But as far as giving props where props are due, I think I should get, major props as far as my role as King Booker. Whether you liked it or not, I think I played a hell of a role.
I agree. I agree, Book. I think the King Booker role. And remember when they put the DVD out? You remember when they put the King of the Ring DVD out?
Yeah.
Front and center was who?
It was me.
King Booker.
At the biggest, photo and everything. Yeah. I appreciate that, man, because sometimes a pat on the back, it goes a long way. It really does. A pat on the back goes. I talk about that with my, young people that come to my school. I always, as a kid, I wanted that, discipline in my life, but I always wanted that pat on the back too, and said, man, I did a hell of a job. So yeah, it goes a long way.
So there was something that happened over the weekend that I did want to get your reaction to. I alluded to it in the first segment with Joey Janela, who was attempting a spot in his match where he was going to give a flaming super kick, lit his boot on fire, and then had issues extinguishing the flame after kicking his opponent, and it turned out pretty bad for him. And I
Yeah.
don't mean to laugh. I hope he's all right. But what did
I'm
you
glad. I do mean to laugh.
think? What did you think? Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it, man. And man, I think I may have met George Janela once, at a con or something like that. And I'm sure I'm going to see George Janela again somewhere. And I always say, man, I'm always willing to say in somebody's face what I'm willing to say on this show. George Janela, that was the stupidest thing I ever seen in my career. I'm serious. Because the thing is, he didn't have on like a boot where it could actually fend off the flames for a minute. He had a kick pad on and a tennis shoe.
Yeah.
And he put so much damn lighter fluid on his foot. It's probably soaked all the way through to his foot, and the thing is, I don't know how many seconds it was. The fire was inflamed, but it was more than 20 seconds.
Yeah, it was more than 20 seconds.
And fire could get hot in about 20 seconds. So that right there just embodies what, for me is what I talk to my young people, my young students about. Hey, if this is the route you want to go, okay, that's on you. But plan on working that scene forever, because this is not stuff they do, in the major leagues. Just the light bulbs, just doing something just for the hell of it. I don't know if that's something in a video game. It has to be something, fire punch or a fire kick. It has to be something from some video game to even for someone to think about trying to do it. It just makes zero sense. And that's what I try to teach my wrestlers. Hey, to stay away from that. Don't go that route, because at the end of the day, you're not going to make a whole lot of money doing it. And you can screw something up permanently doing something like that. I don't know if you noticed the thumbtacks in the ring. I don't know if you saw the spot where they did where the barbed wire was on the table and the swanton off the top of the ladder onto the table with the guy up under the barb. It just where are we going here? Where are we trying to go? Is what I'm saying, and I know it's a market out there for it. But it was probably 150 people, maybe 200 in that hall where they were doing this. And it couldn't have been that much money in that little hall. Couldn't have been.
Yeah. I definitely think that, look, I understand wanting to do something that's going to pop the crowd, right? I mean, that's what everyone wants to do, pop the crowd. Right? Yeah. But there's a point where you got to ask yourself, how necessary is this? And I can't think of a psychological situation. Like if I'm in a real fight, right? And I say, how I'm gonna put this guy away? Let me go get some lighter fluid and some matches. What are you gonna do? You're gonna set him on fire? No, I'll do you one better. I'm gonna set my foot on fire first.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna hit him with a super kick.
It's like a falcon kick. Like we're playing. So it's like Super Melee or Smash Brothers.
It's got to be the greatest move. That's what I'm saying. It's video game stuff. I don't know, man.
Real fight book.
It would never happen in a real fight, but jumping off the top rope is never going to happen in a real fight. Wrestling is to be embellished. I get it. I understand, and I love it. That's the part I love about professional wrestling, that we can create. We can blur the lines. But when we start doing stuff like that, and you got 250, 200 men cheering it, it just. I don't know. I don't know. And like I said, I'm sure I'll see George Janela one day, and hopefully him and I will talk about this. And because I'm going to be talking to him the same way I'm talking right now, saying, bro, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? And then again, he may not care. Maybe that's what he wants to do.
It's possible, but it's possible. But we got we got a lot of topics to talk about, especially coming up this weekend. We got a big fight. I think I think you might even be at this big
man, I'm thinking about heading to Brooklyn, man. It's gonna be a big fight going down this weekend. And I'm gonna tell you, the 5-time world champion Gervonta Tank Davis is gonna be defending that WBA lightweight title against #1 contender, Rolando Rolly Romero. And there's been a lot of talk going back and forth between these two guys. Both of the fighters are undefeated. I'm going to tell you, this is going to be a match of the ages, live only on pay-per-view, guys. That's going down this Saturday, May 28th at 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific. To find out about the fight, guys, go to showtime.com to order it right now. Do it. I do it for you. It's going to be some hot action, man. I cannot wait.
Real quick, who you got?
Man, I got Tank, man. Tank is a special type of fighter. Rolly is a hard puncher. He's a hard puncher. And I'm going to tell you right now, I can't even delve into how good Rolly Romero really is because the competition that he's fought. But I do know the competition of Tank Davis. I was there for the Leo Santa Cruz fight. And I'm going to tell you, to beat Leo, to knock Leo out, you got to be a bad man, as well as his resume speaks for itself.
Well, that goes down again this Saturday, May 28th, only on pay-per-view. And Booker also right around the corner on June 11th, a big show for Reality of Wrestling. Reality of Wrestling presents Lock Up, which is going to feature, for the first time ever, Will Allday taking on the mysterious Q inside a steel cage. The winner will be the Reality of Wrestling champion. That goes down June the 11th at the Booker T World Gym Arena. You can go get tickets right now at realityofwrestling.com. This is going to be a CW39 television taping, so you don't want to miss out on this. Limited tickets are already available. I mean, limited seats left. Go get them right now. realitywrestling.com. That is Reality Wrestling Lockup on June the 11th.
Why you didn't ask me who I got? Why you didn't ask me who I got?
Well, yeah, because I kind of think I know this one. But Book, who do you got in this one?
Hey, man, I got the franchise, the mysterious Q, to win in grand fashion. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not biased or anything like that, but it's going to be good. Hey, guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. We just chopping it up, talking a little wrestling, talking a little boxing. And speaking on that boxing, man, I wonder how Rolly Romero would have handled Leo Santa Cruz, as well as Mario Barrios, two of the toughest Mexicans in the business. And I wonder how Rolly would have handled that situation. We know how Tank handled that situation, and he handled it in grand fashion. So, man, there again, this fight going down this weekend, guys, at the Barclays in Brooklyn. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. It's going to be good.
It's going to be great, Book. Well, hey, where should we start here? Where should we start? We have some updates regarding that big story from last week, if we should tackle that.
Yeah, we can definitely tackle that because it's been all kind of talk. You know what? Let's start with Mark Henry.
Okay. Well, you want me to put the quote up from Mark Henry?
We got to, you know what it said?
No, don't get me.
Wait a minute. Read it exactly like it's written.
Okay. Well, this is from Mark Henry when he was talking about the actions of Corey Graves really announcing what happened. Mark Henry said this: "My issue was not even with the walkout," referring to Sasha and Naomi. "My issue was not even with the disagreement or the disclaimer. My issue was with the people on the show saying that it was unprofessional, because I'm going to tell you right now, if that was my wife and I'm working on that show, I'm walking down to the announce table and I'm going to say, hey, you stay unprofessional. you stay professional. Do your job, and then I won't have to walk down here to the ring to tell you not to do that again. Now he's referring to, of course, Jimmy Uso, the husband of Naomi.
Wait a minute. Put that back up again.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay.
So he's referring to Jimmy Uso's the husband for Naomi Naomi, and then and he's referring to Corey Graves, who said on the Monday Night Raw broadcast that Sasha Banks and Naomi summarily and unprofessionally walked out.
Yeah. That's it, when I look at this kind of stuff, it's almost like, back in the day, I always used to wonder why when a baby face turned heel, he forget how to wrestle. You know what I mean? I'm just using that analogy for a second.
I think I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, it seemed like going to AEW just make you forget about how the business actually really works. Now, Mark, I'm 100% sure Mark Henry knows that what comes out of Corey Graves' mouth is something that he was told to actually say. Okay, normally 9 times out of 10, especially when it's something, to that magnitude, because I don't think I wouldn't imagine that's his personal opinion. Okay, I don't think he would have an opinion, just like he said on his show about this. He said that I really can't speak on it because I really don't have enough information. But on the show, he's there to do a job, and if I'm almost sure Mark knows that Corey Graves was doing his job, so that's what's really, really shocking about that. Mark knows better than that. And then again, if Jimmy was to do something like that, so Jimmy goes to the announce table and he gets fired that same night as well. All right, so that makes no sense. It's to me, and I would think Mark Henry, Mark knows that. I'm a friend of Mark. Mark knows that. I don't know if it's just to get the internet buzzing or anything like that, but Mark knows better than that, and to hear that, it's shocking more than anything. As far as Naomi and Sasha, and now seem like the story is getting more fluid. Seem like it's going to get, at least what they're saying, it's going to get worse before it gets better. There again, I just think the situation should have been handled differently. I just don't think they should have. Like I say, if they wanted to go out and get the job done and then walk out and say, "Hey, look, whatever you got plans for us going forward, we got to talk about it, or we're not in for it." I get that, but to up and leave the show for anybody to support that, like I say, it's setting precedent as far as guys just wanting to walk out and leave the show. And me personally, I run a business. I run a small wrestling company. And when guys come into my company thinking that way, we're never going to get any business done.
Yeah. I'll say real quick to Mark Henry. Yeah, I mean, look, he knows better than that. And I love Mark. I think Mark's a great guy, and super talented. But I think that, look, first of all, to say I'm going to be unprofessional to somebody who said my wife was unprofessional, it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And two, yeah, I mean,
Corey did it that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Michael Cole said a lot of stuff too.
Michael Cole did the same thing, and people are coming for him online too. And I'm like, guys, look, Corey Graves, nobody says summarily except for one person in this world. And I think that one person is probably Vincent Kennedy McMahon, right? So like, let's let Corey have a little bit of lax there.
Well, the thing is, if you go and talk to Corey going to go tell you, hey, you need to go talk to somebody else about that.
Yeah. I didn't say it.
And then
I said it, but I wasn't told this. I mean, I was told this.
Well, exactly. So I'm doing my job. And then there again, you put yourself in position to, get fired and look a certain way as well. I mean, come on, man. Like I said, I think Mark knows better than that. But this situation, it's definitely something that's have dominated, social media. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's wondering if it's a work or not. Um, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not 100% either way, whether it's a work or not. I'm leaning towards it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, just because of the way it was handled, just because of the way we're talking about it right now. And there again, I just think this whole situation could have been avoided in front of the media. Whether they left the company, after the fact or not, um, of what happened. That's here nor there. But I do think all of this being in the media is just blowing it up to a proportion to where we're looking at it like, we're like hanging on the edge, wondering what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
You're looking for press clippings and seeing, has any news come out? It's that type of stuff. So for me, I just think it could have been avoided and handled a little bit differently. And there again, Jimmy not being involved in it, I don't think it would have done him any justice. Jimmy's doing pretty good right now, and I want to see him stay on that path more so than anything, opposed to jumping into something that is really not his business.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, and again, I think Jimmy knows that Corey or Michael Cole, and we'll talk about it a little bit. I mean, there was an announcement from WWE on Friday regarding the status of Sasha and Naomi, but Michael Cole or Corey Graves, again, they're just the messengers. Like, you don't shoot the messenger, right?
Yeah.
And Jimmy, perceivably right now, Jimmy doesn't seem to be affected by this, at least professionally, because Friday night they're the new unified tag team champions, right?
Yeah.
I think if you're going to punish a guy, you're not going to give him a crowning achievement such as that. And honestly, WWE in years past, whenever situations like this has occurred, and there's a couple involved, I go back to CM Punk, AJ Lee. Hey, they did right by AJ Lee. They never buried her. She had a WrestleMania send off, like the whole 9 yards, right? And then she asked for a release. So they're not really that tight from what I've seen to where they're going to punish a spouse or a girlfriend.
I don't think this has anything to do with Jimmy. Just like Jimmy's problems didn't have anything to do with Naomi.
Right, 100%.
So I think it worked both ways. I think it would be smart to keep a check coming in the mail, and I think for to be thinking about these guys from a perspective now to where they can just jump up and just do anything because AEW is over there and they can run over there and get a job. Well, AEW ain't hiring everybody, okay? And I'm not saying that they won't hire Naomi and Sasha, but I'm just saying they're not hiring everybody. There's a lot of people out there right now in this wrestling world that don't have jobs, and AEW easily could have signed them. Guys out there like the Joey Janela's of the world that AEW didn't re-sign. So that's a business, and they're going to be looking at certain things as well. So, like I said, I just don't think it's something that we should be even jumping on board talking about how somebody should handle this. I think it's going to be handled, and I think it's going to play out at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not going to be good. I don't think.
Well, I mean, there's only so many things that can come of it, right? And again, but I agree with you. Like, just because you're romantically involved with somebody doesn't mean that should affect your work and should affect you at the workplace. Like, there was a time to where I'm sure if you had an issue with something, they weren't going to take it out on Charmel, right? Or vice versa. When y'all were in TNA together or in WWE together, like I don't think that it typically works like that. So people were saying, "Oh, I hope Jimmy's okay." I think Jimmy's going to be just fine. As far as being on screen, I don't think they're going to do anything to.
I don't think Jimmy has anything to do with this. I mean, I really that's the way I feel about it. And there again, I'm like this here. I wish we didn't even have to talk about this. I wished there again that this could have been handled a little bit differently, to where the social media world, they're going to take it and they're going to run with it, and the thing, and then they're going to build their own stories. As far as what Sasha's thinking, They're going to create a story about it. What Naomi was thinking, they're going to create a story about it. That's the sad part about social media and putting it out there where all of these sheets are picking it up. It's something going to be said, and I'm sure it's stuff that they are speculating on. So my thing is this: until the real story comes out, as far as what's really happening, we got one side. I just want to hear the other side. Until we hear that, I'm gonna sit back and lay out and see exactly what happens. Guys, you're in the Hall of Fame. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute.
My name is Dan Miller, and I'm trained to be a professional wrestler here at Reality of Wrestling. Professional wrestling has been part of my life for as long as I can remember. Growing up, I would have the toys, I would have matches with stuffed animals, I had a little paper championship. I always had that voice in the back of my head saying, can you do this? Can you really be a pro wrestler? And one day that voice got so loud, I just had to know. So I did my research, and I found that Reality of Wrestling is the best training ground in the whole country. You could sit down and turn on the TV every night of the week to watch pro wrestling, and you'll see someone who got their start in this ring. Reality of Wrestling teaches you everything you need to know about the business, from putting together the ring to putting together a TV show. This is a place where you can come and work on your fundamentals, work on your body, work on your interview skills. This is a one-stop shop for everything pro wrestling. If you have that voice in the back of your head, now is the time to find out if you have what it takes here at Reality of Wrestling.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Boom! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. Yeah, man. Yeah. Real talk inside the Hall of Fame here. On ESPN 97.5, 92.5 every week, man. And that's the only way I know how to do it. We got any super chatters, Brad?
We do. And I also, real quick, before you take that super chat, I want to take the opportunity to plug. You talked about Mysterious Q earlier. Mysterious Q will be wrestling Anthony Ogogo on AEW Dark, so make sure you go check that out.
Yeah.
And tag Reality of Wrestling in your comments. Let them know that the Reality of Wrestling is representing strong
Big
all
time.
over the world.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's big. That's big news right there. Because AEW, I'm gonna tell you right now, if they were to snag a guy like the Mysterious Q, they'd be picking up a diamond that's already ready to be sold. I'm telling you this, guys. So don't miss out. I don't even call him the Mysterious no more. I just call him Q.
Don't miss out on Q, AEW Dark. Watch it. And make sure you tag Reality Wrestling. Here is Super Chat, and this is going to be something that we had to talk about. So this is this guy named Alex said, Book, if you had workers who walked out like them, would you only suspend them or would you fire them? I feel like them being only suspended is lucky. For those of you who don't know, on Friday, Michael Cole did make the announcement on SmackDown that Sasha and Naomi have been suspended indefinitely. They've been stripped of their tag team championships. And they've also, all of their merchandise has been taken off of WWEshop.com as a part of the suspension. WWE says they have no plans to release either talent. That's according to Sean Ross Sapp. However, they are suspended indefinitely.
Well, the question was, would I suspend someone or would I fire? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. I fired somebody last week for talking to Charmel. No, I'm saying, my thing is this, man. If someone was to walk out on a reality wrestling show, I'm like this. I couldn't fire them because they would be only working for me just that one night. If they're my student, or just say, for instance, it was one of my students. Yeah, I'll fire. One of my wrestlers went out there and totally went against the grain one night after I set him up to win. And I told him to pack his bags and I never want to see him again because that's not the way this works. I give you a script and you want to go out there and go out script. This is what happens. You get fired. It's just that simple. If I had someone who was on the card that night and said, man, I ain't doing this because I don't want to do a job tonight, get up out of here. You know what? a friend of mine, and I would call him a friend. Well, I wouldn't necessarily call him a friend, but I would call him an associate, a close associate, because we came up in the game together. His name was Alex Bartow. He was a wrestler back in the day. He actually worked in the WWF for a minute. They called him the Pug. And I remember Alex Bartow, he came to WCW, and they were going to give him a tryout. And the person that he was going to be wrestling was Marcus Alexander Bagwell for his tryout. He was going to be doing a job for Marcus Alexander Bagwell. He said, I don't do jobs. And they told him to pack his bags, get the hell up out of there. He left there. He ended up going to WWF, and he lasted there for a while. I don't know exactly what the reasons was why he didn't make it in the WWF. But yeah, that's normally what happens when you got guys who don't want to work, because that's what this is a work. We have guys like, just say for instance, let me speak about back in the day as well as reality of wrestling. We have guys that show up to reality of wrestling, not even knowing if they're going to be on the card or anything like that, but looking for a shot. And that's what sometimes you have to do in the business to get your foot in the door. You got to go out there and you got to put some work in. You got to pay some dues. It's just that simple. So yeah. I will fire. I mean, I'm not saying them. I will fire the person, if they did it to me at one of my shows. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, WWE suspending them. I think that WWE had no choice. I think they had to. Again, what you're referring to is precedent, right? If Sasha and Naomi went out there and they got they walked out and then nothing happened to them, they got a slap on the wrist like, hey, don't do that again and come on back next week. It's going to make some of the people, one, probably be a little resentful of that, and two, say, oh, okay, well then if I have an issue with creative, I know how to get my way now. I can just walk out and they're going to call me a week later and it's all going to work out. It's just sets a bad precedent. So I think that they had to suspend him, and I think WWE is well within their rights. And I agree with you. We still do not know the severity of the situation. We don't know the entirety of it. So we're only able to comment on this from one side of the spectrum. But even if Sasha and Naomi had justifiable grounds that when we hear, we go, oh, yeah, I'm down with that. I see why they walked out. I still think WWE is well within their right to suspend them. Yeah, you have a contract to work. You're not working. I'm gonna suspend you.
If you was working at Burger King and you said, man, I'm take the apron off and drop the the fries and say, man, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? I'm done. And then you leave and you go home and then you may rethink it and say, man, what was I thinking? Let me call back up here and see what's going on if I can get my job back. 9 times out of 10, they probably gonna say, no, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. I remember my first job working at Fiesta. Okay. My first job working at Fiesta. And I was like 16, and my boys, they like going out and hanging out, party and whatnot. And I wanted to hang out and party as well. And I remember calling in one night and calling in sick, and I was acting like my mother. And I think I got out of it.
Can we hear what that sounded like?
I can't do it now, man. But this is Mrs. Huffman. I was calling in for Booker, and he's not feeling well today, and I was wondering if he could have the day off. And the one time I called, it was the manager. His name was Bastine. I remember it like it was yesterday. And he answered the phone. Yes, this is Mrs. Huffman, and I'm calling to get Booker out of work today. And and he goes, yeah, he can take off and tell him to come pick up his final check. That was the last time I worked at Fiesta. They had every right to do that because this guy knew who he was talking to. He knew I was making up a story, and I got fired. And that's the name of the game. That's just the way it works, and more importantly, they have the authority to do that. It's not like I really don't think it's personal or anything like that. I don't think anything personal towards Naomi. I mean, she's tag team champions. Or Sasha. This is business, and a lot of people are commenting on it like it's personal. Like WWE got an axe to grind against, Sasha and Naomi. I really don't think that's it. I keep harping on it. I keep going back to it. Would we be talking about this if they would have just went out and did it and then say, hey, let's talk about this after? And would we be having the same conversation with this vigor? I really don't think so. I really don't think so. And then I know people are going to say, well, they had to stand up for themselves. Sometimes you got to stand up for yourself. And I say that too, right? I say that all the time. I say I believe in the 99%, 100% rule. And I always say when I'm 99%, I keep my mouth shut. I say when I'm 100%, I'm going to speak up 100% of the time, but I might get fired.
Yeah.
I say that every time.
You do.
And that's just the truth. Sometimes you could have, a valid point and say, man, damn it, I'm not doing it. And still get fired. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's the only thing that I'm saying in that situation right there. You got to pick your poison and, know when you want to, know where you want to pick your fights.
Sure. And I'm sure I'm sure that they would have to know that would have been a reaction from WWE is to suspend them, right? Or at the very least suspend them. Perhaps
I don't know. Maybe maybe they were at that point. Maybe they were at that 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And there again, I believe in it. When I'm 100% about something, that's when I'm willing to get fired. When I'm 100%, I'm willing to get fired.
Right.
Damn it, I don't care. When I'm 100%, fire me. That's just the way it is. So maybe that was it. But then again, we don't know.
We don't know. And again, look, for selfish purposes, yeah, I would like to hear Naomi and Sasha's side of it. Do I think that we're owed a story from them? Do I think that they owe us a damn thing? No. And we're probably not going to hear from them for a very long time, if ever. Right? If ever. So, that's kind of where the situation is. And really, Book, there's only so much that we can talk about it without knowing their frame of mind.
Well, I can say this. I appreciate them not going on Twitter and talking about it and telling the world what their problems are, because they're not going to be able to help them.
Oh, yeah. Twitter can't do nothing for you.
I'm just saying, that's what a lot of times, these young people, first thing they want to do is go tell the Twitter world and their Twitter followers, what kind of problems they got going on. Hey, keep it to yourself until you get this thing resolved, and hopefully it'll blow over sooner than later. You're in the Hall of Fame. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute.
For a couple of years, and for me, I could not take that experience back for anything. I mean, learning how to wrestle in front of 6 people and trying to draw emotion out of people who maybe just by happenstance came across the show, but to work with conditions where the ropes some are too tight, some are too loose, some of the rings had big dips in it, trying not to trip over the canvas, and just having that experience of working in all these different, every ring was different at every indie show that I did, and so to know that I have to put on a good show regardless of the circumstances, even if the ring doesn't show up and I have to wrestle on a gymnasium floor, hoping for the best, it really, really helped shape my ability to be able to think on the fly and made me who I am today.
What's up, this Booker T, 2-time Hall of Famer. I know you're checking out the Shine, checking out the Gloss. I want to thank you guys for checking out Row on YouTube. Hey, don't forget to click and subscribe to check out all the latest content right here each and every week. Now, can you dig that, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. We just telling stories, man. We just telling stories, real stories. Nothing false here, guys. Nothing. No plan, no game, no jiving. Just business. But I tell you, man, we got a lot going on this week. We got a big fight going on in Brooklyn this weekend. And I tell you, man, I'm geared up for that because actually I got some tickets to go check it out. And I tell you, the fight game is hotter than it's ever been. Gervonta Tank Davis is the WBA lightweight champion of the world, and he will be taking on, I tell you, number one ranked contender, Rolando Romero. I don't think you want to miss out on this fight, guys. You do not want to get shut out. It's going down in Brooklyn, New York. And a fight like this is one of those fights to where it's hanging in the balance. You got a guy like Rolly Romero. He definitely wants to take that spot. But a guy like Gervonta Tank Davis coming off a big stoppage in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm going to tell you, in Atlanta, Georgia, it gets hot against Mario Barrios. It's going to be a good fight, guys. You need tickets. Go to Showtime.com right now. Do it. I do it for you.
Look at that. Look at that. That gives out again this Saturday, May 28th, Showtime pay-per-view, and also a book on June the 11th. Reality of Wrestling presents Lock Up. It's going to feature the first ever battle between the Mysterious Q and Will All Day inside of a steel cage for the Reality of Wrestling Championship. The Mysterious Q has a winning record in cage matches, winning that very Reality Wrestling Championship on 2 separate occasions inside the cage. Will All Day never been inside the cage in Reality of Wrestling history. These two will battle on June the 11th in Texas City, Texas at 7 o'clock bell time at the Booker T World Gym Arena. You don't want to miss out. Tickets are available in limited quantities at realityofwrestling.com.
Hey, man, a lot of action coming up, a lot of action. I don't know if you got a chance to watch any of the basketball as of late, but I tell you, these NBA finals are heating up. I tell you, man, Boston was my pick, man. For some reason, I just like the way they play the game and don't seem to be able to rally with the Heat. I don't know what it is, man. Them boys, that Butler, he's a hell of a player. And it seemed like Butler come to play when it's time to. Seems like we don't hear nothing about that dude during the regular season. And then in the playoffs, seemed like something clicks and everything just started working for him. And I tell you, Jimmy Butler he's definitely a primetime player. But another team that I'm so impressed with is them Golden State Warriors.
Brother, man. Are they just something?
I'm telling you, man, Klay Thompson, he's back, and he's back with a vengeance. That dude is he's playing better than I've ever seen him play before. I'm talking about from an inside perspective, from an outside perspective, from a assist perspective. Them boys playing some hell of a ball. And it's gonna be hard to beat them. It's gonna be hard to beat the Golden State Warriors.
I think the Golden State Warriors are going to win the NBA championship this year. After seeing how they've played against this Dallas Mavericks team, I do think we're going to see Warriors Heat in the finals. Heat's defense with Bam Adebayo, the way that Jimmy Butler balls out, it's going to buy them a lot as far as opportunity. But Steph Curry is otherworldly. He's just otherworldly. And, you know, when they were having their battles with the Rockets, it was so hard for me to root, like, to even be excited by Steph Curry or Draymond or Clay. I hated them all. I wanted to see them all go down, right? I wanted my team to win so bad. But at some point, you just have to appreciate greatness and be thankful that you're around to witness it. And that team right there is so strong. And Steph Curry has really, because, you know, again, he kind of, when Clay went down, it kind of fell off the radar a little bit. Remember, he was dealing with his own injury things. We talked earlier this year. Is he going to have an issue with his wife and this whole rumor out there with it? That man is spectacular. He's the greatest shooter I've ever seen.
You know what impressed me more about him is when they was bringing him off the bench.
Mm.
And I'm like, man, that's so unselfish. That's
Yeah.
so unselfish to be the best shooter in the game, and you sitting on the bench. You know, that just lets me know that this dude knows exactly, what the game is all about. And I agree with you. Heat, Golden State, definitely going to be a hell of a matchup. And the thing is, I can't even call that one. I can't even call that game because both teams are great in so many different ways. So I'm definitely going to be on the edge watching that best of seven.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler really is like the opposite of James Harden, right? Like James Harden, that's all you hear about in the regular season is him balling out, balling out, balling out.
Perfect example. Perfect example.
And you don't hear anything. Jimmy gets no love. And then Jimmy in the playoffs, woo!
He takes off, man. He becomes an elite player in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, but that's what the great players do. The great players always show up at the right time. That's why the Lakers, LeBron James, those guys, throughout the season, they wouldn't be playing that great. And then all of a sudden playoff time come and then next thing hey, bro, let's go to work. It's almost like a pact that they create with each other and say, hey, man, we got here. Now all we got to do is put the work in from this point. Didn't work out for them this season, of course, but normally that's what the great players do.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I feel bad a little bit for not really, actually. I don't feel bad at all for Luka Doncic. I just feel bad like, man, he's playing his heart out and it's just not enough. But look, this is his first taste of the conference finals. He's a year 4 guy. He's gonna be back. And they're gonna put a better team around him. I know I know Mark Cuban and Lil Wayne, they've been having a Twitter feud over the last couple weeks about Luka Doncic, but I think Luka's gonna be back. But them beating them in Dallas, that's a wrap for Dallas. It's a wrap. Good season. We'll see you next year.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah. I tell you, Luka's, and he's an extraordinary player. He's exceptional. You can't stop him.
No.
1-on-1, you can't stop him. 2-on-1, you're gonna have a hard time stopping that dude. And the thing is, when you just look at him, you don't even see anything special.
No.
And then when he's on the court, you go, wow, this dude is unbelievable. He doesn't look like he doesn't have a body where it looks like he's gonna knock you over or anything like that, but he run right past you. He's tough as nails. And I tell you, man, that dude is championship material. I hope Luka win the championship, before his career over with. But I tell you, it's a rough game. That game is rough. To win a championship in that game, it's almost like, you got to spend a lot of money. You got to have the right pieces to actually win a championship in that game. That's why the Rockets been on the outside looking in since '96.
Why you got to bring that up?
I'm just saying, man.
I'm bring up old stuff.
No, because we had a nucleus of guys on that team to where they could win on any given night. So
we have the greatest center of all time. That kind of helps, right?
No, that did help, but he had a lot of role players around him, a lot of role players that was willing to play their role. Yeah. Everybody on that team was willing to play their role back in the day, and they won. Unlike we had great players here like James Harden, like a Yao Ming, like Chris Paul,
T-Mac,
and never was able to crack that threshold, and it's all due to having those right pieces on the board, man. More importantly than anything, I think.
Well, why does Dallas though have like the all-time, like if you were to make a team of like the greatest white players in league history, Dallas has like 3 spots already on it. You have Dirk, you have Luka, you have Steve Nash. What is it about the Mavericks? Why do the great white players go to the Mavericks?
I don't know, man. Might have something to do with Mark Cuban, man.
Got money.
Mark Cuban seemed to always take those type of guys in and treat them a certain way, put them on a pedestal. make them great players. You know what I mean? Put them in position to become great players. So maybe, and then he's young, man. He's still young. He's hip. That has a lot to do with it, I think. And a guy like Luke, I'm sure he loves playing for an owner like Mark Cuban.
Oh yeah, it's just he's such a great baller, and I mean, he's kind of in that vein. I want to see him like after taking these losses, like let's see him get a little bit more dirt on him. And I think when he grows into his body a little bit more, when he gets a little bit older, able to put on a little bit more muscle, trim some of that baby fat away, he's going to be a little bit more aggressive. I'm telling you, he's going to start bulldogging people.
You know what? I don't think Luke is going to put on any more muscle than he has right now. Larry Bird went through his whole career looking the same way, and he dominated.
Larry Bird's a bad man too.
I'm saying he dominated. And he looked the same. Don't look like Larry Bird ever hit the gym one day other than the basketball gym. But he was great at getting out on that court and making you say, man, this guy's, wait a minute, what? That's what Larry Bird, and I tell you, he has a whole lot in common with Luka Doncic. So I see that guy doing great things before he leave the game. Winning a championship, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
A little bit. But I think the match that everyone kind of saw me at my, I got the right exposure, I guess, is when I faced Ricochet in Japan for the Best of Super Juniors. And I think a lot of people saw that match and was like, all right, well, this is what Will does. He's a flippy guy. But I saw the constructive criticism that everyone would say, and I would go, hang on, no, they've got a point. They have got a point. We could have done some stuff different. We could have done this, that, and that different. And then I got in the ring with a guy called Shibata. And in New Japan, like he was like top, like, do you know what I mean? He's like he was one of the new generation Three Musketeers. And I would be like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do that. And he looked me dead in the eyes. Like he just looks at me. He goes, no. Oh, mate, I am so scared. And he didn't, honestly, he didn't tell me a single thing of what we were going to do until I got in the ring. Yeah. And I was so scared.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, along with my man Brad Gilmore. And we just chopping it up, taking care of business here inside the Hall of Fame. Hopefully, you guys getting your champagne wishes and caviar dreams. What we got next, man? What we got next?
We got a lot of super chats to get to, so let's go to our first one from Callie Toenail. It says, with the tag belts unified, are we now going to get less matches? What's going on? Might as well have one the U.S. and the other IC at this point. So maybe he's saying merge the IC and the U.S. titles. Yes, so on Friday Night SmackDown, they did unify the Raw and SmackDown tag team titles, which I actually think is for the best. I think you have one world champion, you have one tag champion, and then you can have your, U.S. title, IC title, things like that. I think that's better for the business, in my opinion.
I know you like it like that, but for me, I like I like having at least two tag team belts. One SmackDown, one Raw, just because.
Are there enough teams for that? Like, are there enough teams to have two tag team titles?
It may not be, but it still give those tag teams an initiative to, achieve, to become tag team champion. And like I say, I just think taking away one tag team championship and making it to where everybody got to work towards that win. Is it something that's possible? Yeah, I think so. But I think it's just going to make it a whole lot harder. And then just say, for instance, we do create more tag teams. And then what are we going to do? Bring the tag team championships back? We got two different shows. Say again, no?
No. I think there should always be one set of tag team championships. And I'll tell you why. Because whoever attains that, it just makes them look that much more special. Not everyone gets a turn. If your 10-time WCW tag team championships wouldn't look as impressive if there was two sets of WWE tag team titles.
Yeah, but we didn't have a Raw and SmackDown.
Y'all had a Nitro and a Thunder.
But there was still just one show.
Okay, I get that.
We've always looked at SmackDown and Raw as the A show and the B show. They've always been two different shows.
I see your point there.
And then what it does also is make those guys have to work more, because they're going to have to work on Monday night, and then they're going to have to work on Friday night, and then they may have to work on the weekend as well. You may not understand that. You may not understand what that does to the body of guys trying to do that. But they're going to have to defend those championships on the house shows, European tours, Monday night, Friday night, to put those guys in a position where they got to work all week long. Me personally, I say, here, take these tag team championships. You can have them.
Now, that's an interesting point that I didn't consider, but I'm just looking at kind of the prominence of the championships. If there are more titles, then inherently they are less special. That's just bottom line.
Yeah, but if there are more titles, less guys going to be working less. Period.
And I get that. And if we're looking at talent preservation, sure. I get where you're coming from with that.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at, the prestige of the tag team championships. That's why I say, we were talking earlier as far as respecting the tag team championships. I mean, come on, man. It's a work here. And I'm thinking about, protecting myself and making sure I can, have a time, a minute with my family at the same time. And to have to defend the tag team championship all the time, those guys ain't going to have no time at home. I'm going to tell you that right now. They're going to have about one day at home to prepare and one day to get their ass ready to get back on the road.
Well, but before there was a brand split, there was just, when you first came to the company, like right when you first came, they were still doing Raw and SmackDown as they were two separate shows, but they didn't have two separate rosters.
Well, you go back and listen to the stories of those veterans who had to work all, 300 days a year. Go and listen to those stories. And I'm going to tell you right now, all of those guys, they endured it. They went through the trenches. They took care of their families. But I'm going to tell you right now, in hindsight, all of those guys, man, they wish they did it differently. Or they wish they could have done it differently. Being on the road all the time, defending the championships in an arena. The highlight of that time on the road is in the ring. That's it. And then you back to, life again. And these days, guys ain't on the road partying and drinking. So they spend a lot of time in their hotel rooms, talking on, FaceTime to the girlfriends and wives and whatnot, wishing that they were at home. So I'm talking from a in-ring perspective, someone who's been there and know what this business is as far as, I get it. To you, that's going to look real cool. But for me, all I'm going to be doing is working.
I mean, I think that's a really interesting point. But again, if I'm looking at what's going to draw, but don't you think with one set of tag team champions and one WWE champion, that actually enhances their superstardom, which makes them bigger draws and makes them more money? Hey, I'm the guy. We are the tag team.
It's professional wrestling. And when we started, if it was boxing and it was the unification, heavyweight championship, yeah, I get that. But this is professional wrestling. Wrestling is to be embellished.
But you being a world champion makes you more valuable. Just like you being a Hall of Famer makes you more valuable. That title adds something.
It does, but having two of them is going to make me more. Am I going to be making more money?
I don't know. I'm asking, what is that business model? I mean, do you think that makes them more money?
I doubt it. Maybe through OnlyFans or whatever. You know what I mean?
Cameo.
Yeah, cameo. But as far as money in your pocket, like I say, for me, I'm thinking from a preservation perspective, and I just don't think it's wise to have the tag team champions on one team to where they're going to have to defend on SmackDown and Raw. They're going to have to be on those shows on a regular basis, and I just don't think that, for me, is a good model for guys trying to have productive lives.
All right, let's see what our next super chat is. It's from Infinity Westbrook, who says AEW is a bunch of WWE rejects. Cena is the GOAT. Well, I don't know if I agree with that.
You know what? I'm not going to say anybody is WWE rejects or anything like that. The Hardys aren't rejects, okay? I'm just never going to. My thing is this, man. These are my peers, okay? Every guy, Christian from, Jericho, all of them that's gone over there, those guys are my peers. I want to see them do well. And the thing is, one can't think about, just say, for instance, working for WWE forever. And just say, for instance, for me, It's worked out for me, and I've been working there for a long time. But if it doesn't work out for you over here, and it's a spot for you over there, that's where you go. It's a job at the end of the day, and I think this taking sides thing, you know what I mean? AEW over WWE. To me, man, it really makes no sense. There again, I talk about AEW all the time, and there's certain things I don't like. There's certain things that I do like. With WWE, it's certain things I don't like. It's things that I do like. And then, and the thing is, I'm not gonna bash it and say, "Oh, it's a bunch of crap." If I could say something from a constructive perspective, I'll say it. But I'm not going to down AEW or WWE, even though it's a lot of people out there think that I do crap on AEW, but I don't. I don't think I've crapped on AEW once since that company has been in existence. But as people want to make me a villain as far as AEW goes, and I'm like,
it was funny
because I work for WWE, and for me, like I said, I got people that are out of my school, actually that's going to be working on dark out of my school, perhaps getting opportunities over there. So more power to it.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw a comment on YouTube over the weekend because we had something that you talked about CM Punk and his star power for AEW, and somebody was like, "Oh, look, Booker makes a positive AEW comment, especially about CM Punk, and no one's around to hear it." Like nobody reports it, nobody says a word about it. Like it was funny. Even the Sasha and Naomi stuff. Like I was expecting headlines, like we talked about on the show. Oh, Book, they're gonna pick that up. I joked with you on the show. And nobody said anything about it. you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I said something good about it.
Because you weren't airing them.
Well, it didn't sound like it did. They couldn't create a way that it sounded like I was burying them.
Right.
So let's not say anything about it at all. But even Sasha and Naomi throughout their whole careers, I don't think I've bashed Sasha. I don't think I've bashed Naomi once. I've thought about what Naomi could do to make herself better, in the ring, and I wish that I could have worked with her. That's what I wish more than anything. I wish, but I'm not the type to go to these guys and say, "Hey, man, can I work with you?" You know what I mean? Because a lot of them, just like that kid this weekend at my school, think they know a whole lot more than I do. So I say, just let me lay out and not even go there. But the ones who do want my help, they call me all the time. I want to give some props to my homie before we take a break. Too Cold Scorpio. This one guy, I don't know what his name is, but he's doing interviews. He's kind of like the Vlad, I call him, of professional wrestling, where he get the wrestlers on there and he asks them questions about not themselves, but other guys, and try to get stories out of them about other guys. And he asked him, when I call us some names, just tell me what do you think about these people. And Booker T and English guy, I guess, Scottish, I don't know. And Tuco say, my brother from another mother, the realest dude, in the business, and he's trying to get, did you ever party with Booker T? And Tuco said, Booker T didn't party. He wasn't that type of guy. He was about his money. And a lot of brothers wished that they could have done as much as Booker T did in this business. I want to thank my brother, Tuco Scorpio. Real dude, man, real dude. And that's my thing. With me, I don't really care about what fans say about me, especially fans that just don't like me. But talk to my peers. Pull up on YouTube. Talk about Booker T. You're not going to hear a whole bunch of it at all, because I've been straight up since day one. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. You're worth it.
Walker Texas Ranger handles the bad guys with a roundhouse kick. I'm Jim Walker, Walker Texas lawyer. I handle the insurance companies with a roundhouse kick to the wallet. If you've been injured in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, give me a call at 713-552-1117 or visit my website at walkertexaslawyer.com. You'll be glad you did. Why would you call anyone else?
Can you dig it, sucker?
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We're just chopping it up, talking real talk here inside the Hall of Fame, ESPN 97.5, 925, getting your champagne wishes, guys, and caviar dreams. Where we at, Brad? How many more super chats?
We got another super chat, and this is something that we were talking about earlier. This from Roland Curtis, who says Tank leaves Mayweather Promotions after this one. And, of course, after this one, he's referring to a big fight that's going down this Saturday in Brooklyn, New York. Booker T, this is one that I know that you're really, really, really excited about.
Yeah, man, I'm excited about this fight. It's going to be one for the ages. And the thing is, man, I'm a big boxing fan. I wish I was going to be there in Brooklyn to check out the 5-time world champion Gervonta Tank Davis defend the WBA lightweight championship against the #1 contender Rolly Romero. And these guys been mentioning my name a little bit. Keep my name out your mouth, guys. Hey, got both of these guys are undefeated in a matchup that's going to be for the ages, live only on pay-per-view Saturday, May 28th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Go to Showtime.com right now to check it out.
Showtime.com is where you can get the pay-per-view, again, only this Saturday on pay-per-view Showtime. It's going to be one for the ages, Premier Boxing Championships, man. They've been talking about it. But, yeah, we do hear that Tank Davis might be done with Mayweather Promotions.
It's a wrap. No, it's a wrap. Actually, Tank been talking about it as well, as far as maybe something is a fix in the fight or something like that. But I don't know, man. I do know Tank Davis has been a major star ever since signing with Mayweather Promotions. They put this kid in a position to shine. But the thing is, just like Leonard Ellaby said, we did our job and Tank went out and did his job. We promoted Tank to the best of our ability, but Tank went out and racked up a bunch of knockouts to put himself in position to be the #1 guy in the lightweight division. And I like that. And let us say, man, look, I ain't finna talk about, if Tank's moving on or not. If he's moving on, he's moving on. This is business. We've done our job. And that's what people don't understand. As far as, I don't look at this as a Floyd Mayweather, Adrian Broner situation. Okay. What I look at this as is a Floyd Mayweather, a golden boy situation. All right. Because when Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd was working under Top Rank under Bob Arum, Floyd had to make a decision. He said, man, do I want to stay here and stay under this, or do I want to create my own thing and bank on myself? That's what he did. And he became the top drawing fighter that we've ever seen. Tank Davis is in that same position right now. Do I want to stay in a camp to where, there's a Rolly Romero and there's me, and we in the same camp, and we both getting pushed to the same level? You can't push us both. And that's the same mentality that Floyd had when he switched over, so I get it. I understand it. And like Leonard said, this is business at the end of the day.
100%. And that's all it is business. And hopefully we get a chance to talk to Leonard Ellaby. I think we might be having him on later this week. So look out for that. We got a lot with that fight. Justin Cortinas says, hey, Book, did you ever run into the WWF/E roster back in the Monday Night Wars? What was your reaction when you first walked into a WWE locker room after the acquisition? Thank you. God bless. Did you ever have run-ins with any of the boys from WWF when you were a WCW guy? I know you said you and Owen Hart had a interaction.
Yeah. We've run into each other in the airports on a regular basis. But it wasn't nothing. It wasn't any animosity or anything like that. Like I said, I knew most of those guys that was in the WWF back then. But I wouldn't say we were friends or anything like that. But yeah, I would run across those guys. As far as my introduction in the locker room, you know, people always refer back to the Bagwell Booker T match and talk about how bad of a night it was. I don't. I know that was a bad night. I remember it vividly. But that's the only time I ever had any feelings towards being in a WWE ring or locker room, because I felt like at that time, I felt like I was one of the best wrestlers in the world. I really did. I thought I was one of the best wrestlers in the world, and I didn't care what Marcus Bagwell was going through that night. I still felt like I could go out there and pull it out of him. Okay, I felt like I could still go out there and get something manageable to where the fans would be like, okay, this is pretty good. But that night, I think that was the first night I think I heard the fans like say boring in my match, So I definitely felt a certain way about that. But I also knew that I had to prove myself. I said, man, I got to get past this. I got to prove myself. So that's the only time I felt any kind of way about being in the WWE. That just after that, because I felt like, what am I going to do now? And luckily, I think me and DDP went out and worked after that. And one thing I knew about DDP, he was going to work hard. The match wasn't a great match or anything like that, but I think it kind of redeemed me from a perspective. But the locker room has always been cool with me, man. Everybody in the WWE has always been real cool with Booker T.
Can you just, for people who've never heard it, because right now AEW is doing their Owen Hart Cup tournament, supporting the Owen Hart Foundation. I just love the story. I know it was a simple story, but can you just tell the people, like, because you had a run in with Owen Hart one time. Y'all never worked with each other, but you got a chance to run into him.
Yeah, it's crazy. Owen, we ran into each other in Minnesota, actually, at this hotel right near the that Minnesota mall that they did the show in back in the day.
Mall of America?
Mall of America, yeah. It was a hotel like right across the street from Mall of America. And they had a jacuzzi in there. And I was like, man, let me go down in the jacuzzi and, get a little soak in. And but when I was going into the jacuzzi, Owen Hart was getting out of the jacuzzi. and I was like, hey, man, I'm Booker T. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm Owen Hart. You know what I mean? So it was one of those type of deals. And that was the only time that I had ever met Owen Hart. And it was in a jacuzzi
at a hotel in Minneapolis. What a story.
In Minneapolis, yeah. Right across the street from the Mall of Mainland. I remember that so vividly, man, because it was so freaking cold in Minnie at that time. Yeah.
Man, and Owen Hart, again, when I go back and I watch him, like as a performer and as a wrestler, God, like he was really a second to none kind of guy, right? I mean, just go in there, have the match of the night, tear it up with anybody. So solid overall.
He was a wrestler. That's what he prided himself on, is going out and wrestling. And yeah, he was definitely one of the best. I just don't think he ever really got a chance to have his real shine. Of course, the deal that he did with Brett was, a shining moment for him. But I still think we never really got the chance to see truly the best of Owen Hart.
No, I agree. I agree. Unfortunately, I think that he had a hell of a run still to go. And I mean, especially, think about, he and Austin had their issue in the match where Austin's neck got busted or whatever. Can you imagine though bringing that back in an angle, like for the world title at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Just playing off the real life of it. I've always thought about, man, that would have been such a hot angle, and what a match they probably could have had at a Mania or something like that. So it's nice. I will say this: it's nice to hear his name frequently. And let me ask you this, because Dynamite was here over the last week in Houston at the Fertitta Center, and they were doing the Owen Hart Cup, and they had their Joker, their wild card, make his debut against Samoa Joe in the tournament, and that was Johnny Elite, who wrestled for us one time. And he was under the moniker of Johnny Rowe. Know him as Johnny Mundo, Johnny Nitro, John Morrison. of course.
Yeah.
He went out there and he worked with Samoa Joe. I don't
He,
know.
he was Johnny Impact too, wasn't he?
He was Johnny Impact as well. Yes, he was Johnny
Yes.
Impact as well. What'd you think of Johnny Elite?
You know, man, he's a good pickup. He really is. Morrison is one of those guys that can go out and perform with anyone. He really can. I think just his name value alone brings something to the company. I'm not sure how they're going to use him or anything like that. I don't. And I know somebody could take this as criticism, but I haven't figured out how to use a lot of those guys in AEW right now because then again, maybe I don't watch the show enough. Maybe that's it. Maybe I need to start tuning in, watching the show a little bit more, and maybe that make me not think that way. But yeah, John Morrison definitely a big pickup.
John Morrison, yeah, John Morrison's he's a hell of a talent book. We have one more segment left for the people. And there's some other wrestling stories I want to kind of get your opinion on. Stephanie McMahon had a big announcement. Ric Flair's coming after all of his haters. There's a lot still in the world of wrestling, BT.
Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
Because we'll all day get to know each other so well. Power just one from Bolton. Look at that! And now Dela Cruz sends Carter out with her. Look at that cartwheel. That athleticism by Roxy is what we know her for. She is the prodigy for a reason. She rolls through and now connects. And another. Look at this. There we go. Immediately, we talked about chaos. Top. The ball. Flies. With the splash. 2, 3.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, man. Some of those clips, man, it's just funny, man. Watching AQA, she looked like such a little bitty kid, right? Watching me do that spinneroonie, I was like, man, that's the last. I think that might have been the last spinneroonie that I did right there.
I can't think of another one since then.
I think that was the last. It's retired. It's retired.
Until the money comes around.
Spinneroonie is officially retired, man. I'm telling you, I did 200 Hindu squats, like I said, this weekend. And I'm still hurting like crazy, bro. I'm like, the hell hit me? So I got here and I did another 200. I said, you know what? I'm going to do the old William Regal. William Regal, he used to do 1,000 a day. Okay. I'm not going to go there, but I think I'm going to start doing at least 300 Hindus a day.
Wow. Yeah. Well, there you go. We'll see if you can live up to it. Hey, Roland Curtis says, will Steph Curry get his first finals MVP this year? I think if they win, he'll probably get it. What do you think, bro?
No, I think so, man. Dude's playing some hell of a ball. Like I say, man, Charmaine was talking about it. Just about how many hours you think he put in learning the touch?
Tens of thousands.
You know what I mean? Because when he throw it up, it just seemed like he's throwing it up there. It doesn't look like he's aiming really that just seemed like he throws it up and it goes in. And it's amazing the way he makes it look so easy. Mm-hmm. The way he does it. And I just wonder, I was watching Will Zalatoris and Justin Thomas play for that PGA championship in a playoff this week, and watching a guy like Justin Thomas, you could tell Will Zalatoris, when they got into that matchup, I could sense, the nervousness coming from that kid. But to watch Justin Thomas do it like flawless. They hit the one shot, man. It was over the water. Over the water. Par 4, 302 yards, and he put it right on the green. And I go, God, how many hours did it take to be able to feel that and know how to make that little ball go in that direction in that crucial moment to where if you knock it out, you lose the tournament. It's amazing, man, to watch guys that do that to that level and because of the time that they put in, like a Steph Curry. Amazing.
It is incredible. We have a super chat here, $10 from Alex Constantino. Brad, you need to YouTube Paul London Booker T during the break and check out his comments the other day on Rene Dupree's podcast. Book needs to respond to that. They were not positive. Okay, well, we'll have to do some.
Paul London said something about me.
That's what Alex is saying. I don't know. We'll have to find out.
Well, what did Paul London say about Booker T? I mean, I've never had any heat with Paul London. I know I said something about Rene Dupree, which was, I thought he should have stood up for himself back then, opposed to waiting that to now.
I remember this, but
tell me, what did Paul London say about Booker T? Because I don't think I've ever had an issue with Paul London ever. I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll have to research the veracity of those claims. I'm not saying you're wrong, Alex, but I haven't heard anything. Aaron C says, in my opinion, WWE doesn't have enough tag teams, so unifying the titles to me is a great idea. We just need one dominant tag team. Okay, well, there you go.
Hey, you know what? Like I say, I'm not in disagreement with that theory. Okay, I'm not in disagreement with that at all. What I'm in disagreement with is, like I say, I know what it's like to be on the road. Okay, I know what it's like to have to work on Friday night and then have to work on Saturday night, Monday night, and then on Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. And then it's a tour in there, as well as some media tours in there as well, that most people outside of the business just don't know about. And I say this because being the world champion was the hardest time of my life. It was a great time in my life. I appreciate it. But it was the hardest time that I ever had in my career. So I'm just thinking about the pressure that we would be putting on these guys.
Yeah, and Alex goes on to say, in my opinion, we only need one world title, one set of tag champs, two sets of tag team champions. It's ridiculous. But you have a really good point from the schedule side of things. Nathan Jackson, I just want to make sure we get to all these. Nathan Jackson says, WWE needs to work with Sasha Banks and Naomi. You can't keep messing over great talent. Put them in the bloodline. I stand with Banks and Naomi.
Stand with them.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, look. I mean, I stand with talent too. I don't know. But here's my thing. I just want to say to Nathan, what are you standing for? We don't know. We don't know what their side is. Once I decide, I'll tell you if I stand with them or I stand with the company. But I don't know. I don't really know. The only thing I know for sure is if they walked out during the middle of the show, I have an issue with that.
Okay, wait a minute. I just got some breaking news here. It said Paul London shoots on Booker T breaking his nose. Well, Paul, I broke a few guys' nose in the business.
Not purposefully.
Talk to Tim White, the referee. I fixed his sinuses very, very well. He didn't even have to go get the doctor to do it for him. I did it. You know what I do? I think I do remember breaking Paul London's nose.
But it wasn't intentional, right? Like it was an axe kick or something like. Or
it wasn't. I'm sure it wasn't intentional, but I was one of those guys that I worked a little stiff. I worked a little snug sometimes. If he caught it, it was. I don't think it was anything intentional, and I'm sure I apologized to him. And that was it. I'm going to listen to these comments. I'll comment about it on our next show, as far as what I think about the comments. And but Paul London, he don't want no smoke.
Roland Curtis says, ironically, last week I said Sasha, Naomi, Shane, Stephanie, even Roman were expendable. Next day, Steph takes a leave. You guys said that stars are needed. Mr. McMahon has been a true star since 1982. Yeah, Stephanie McMahon did announce this week, Booker, that she is taking a leave of absence from the majority of her responsibilities with WWE. It was surprising, apparently, to a lot of people within the company. I actually, when I saw it, wasn't super surprised because I was like, well, look, she just went through this crazy ordeal with her husband, who had this tremendous health issue. I'm sure she probably was like, hey, let me take some time to myself. Let me be with the kids. Let me be with the family. WWE's been her whole life. Her whole life. I don't fault her at all for wanting to take some time for herself.
Yeah. I mean, people speculate on everything. Now I was reading as Nick Khan taking all of Stephanie McMahon's responsibilities. That's the reason why. It just seemed like people just want to find something controversial to be able to talk about, And there again, if I was Stephanie, I probably would have took a leave of absence a long time ago. So her taking time off, it means nothing other than she's taking time off. Shane McMahon has taken time off several times. He's always come back. He's taking more time off. It just, I don't look at it like most, because everybody's looking for a story. And for me, like you say, Stephanie's been in the trenches for a long time. To take a break, I think it's a break well needed.
Absolutely. So, shout out to Stephanie McMahon. I hope she enjoys her time off. We have a couple more super chats to get to. Steel City 1981. Who's your dark horse team in the NFL this year?
Man, who's the dark horse, man? I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping them Ravens can do something, man. Just because that Lamar Jackson he's special. But it's gonna take a whole lot. But I do like the way that team play.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say a dark horse in the NFL, especially because those teams now it's getting to be more like the NBA, where they shift so much season to season.
Yeah,
where you have almost a completely new roster year over year. So it's really hard for me to say. Aaron C says Roman says he will never do house shows again, only TV. Thoughts? Well, if that's true, I didn't hear him say that. He's thinking about the longevity of his career, right?
I heard that he was going to be taking a shorter schedule. I heard he was going to be working less house shows. I didn't hear that he was going to be working any house shows.
I didn't hear that either.
I don't see that happening. That's just not the way it works. But Roman taking a less schedule, I agree with that 100%. And if I could protect Roman any kind of way, if I'm the boss, I'm gonna do it. It's just that simple.
Yeah, it makes sense. He's your top guy. He's a top talent. Let's look after him and his longevity and make sure that,
you protect him.
Yeah, you protect him.
It's as simple as that. So, yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Last super chat of the day is again from Nathan Jackson. Let Sasha Banks and Naomi have a little bit of creative control over some of the setup. They are the front runners of WWE. Those ladies put in work.
When I hear people talk like that, I say, go to Hollywood and tell any director that doing any show.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's Broadway. I don't care if it's, the big screen. I don't care what it is. Just say, for instance, no matter what it is, when the guys come in talking about creative control, that's what Hulk Hogan had. That's what almost screwed my night up. Okay. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I believe that you pay me to come and do a job, and I come to do that job, and hopefully I do that job well, and I'll be around long enough to get even more money and get paid even more. But at the end of the day, that is it. When you want to write the show, do like I did. Go get your own reality of wrestling. And then you can create all the stories. You can create all the stars. You can write it however you want to write it. But when it's somebody else's show and somebody else's money, I'm not finna go in trying to make changes like that from a creative control perspective. That's just me. I could be wrong.
Agreed. Well, Book, we got to send them on home.
Hey, guys, I want to thank you guys for hanging out inside the Hall of Fame. And I appreciate this conversation more than anything, being able to agree to disagree. That's what the Hall of Fame is all about, to be able to agree to disagree is what it's all about. But I appreciate you guys in the chat, as well as you too, Brad, as always, here inside the Hall of Fame, ESPN 97.5, 925. But right now, guys, I got to get out of here. Peace.
Sucker!